When Harihiro came to, he was in darkness, not knowing why he was here or where here even was. With him were others who also remembered little more than their own names. What they found when they came out of the underground was a world that was just like a game. In order to survive, Harihiro forms a party with others in the same situation as him, learns skills, and takes his first steps forward into the world of Grimgar as a trainee volunteer soldier, not knowing what awaits him. This is a tale of adventure born from the ashes. Grimgar is annoying. I don't like Grimgar. The setting is D&D, the main character is pathetic, and the supporting cast of characters is ex-anime personality trope. Yet, I can't stop myself from buying the next light novel issue and binging about 4 or 5 issues in a week. What the heck? What makes it addicting? What makes this series different from other isekai light novels? Well, I don't know. This is my first light novel. The one, series that I first read. So typically I watch the anime like everybody else, but since I decided to become an author, I've been reading way too much. So I planned on reading about 50 books this year and settled on 70, which is bound to be surpassed in the upcoming week since I'm currently unemployed. This is talent, and I got too much time on my hands, so let's review the first book of Grimgar Fantasy and Ash. So, they are at a base basically called Atlanta. Atlanta? I don't know. And they're the Frontier Army. The whole story takes place on a continent called Grimgar, which is separated by a huge mountain range cutting through the continent. So there is a group of, the civilized people, the humans or whatever, and they're from the Arvakia kingdom. And they live in pretty relative harmony south of the range, where they're just farming all day and doing whatever BS that they do, chilling, living it up, being into tertiary services or tertiary jobs and stuff like that. Meanwhile, on the other side of the range, it's just infested by monsters everywhere. There was this asshole named I think his name was the Deathless King. He's an asshole, so the humans had to, take what they can get. They're trying to go into that territory, and it's pretty hard because, it's infested with all types of monsters, so they basically have like a base of operations at Atlanta. And they have the Frontier Army, where they keep getting recruits from I don't know where, to be honest. I haven't read that far, but their recruits are pretty much forced to join the Crimson Moon. That's basically what they call the trainees that just come out of nowhere. They're new to the world and everything like that, and they're first forced to really fight to survive. I mean, they could really take jobs or whatever, but why would they do that when they barely know anything at all? So they're really forced to fight, forced to get some money, and there is this god. Well, there's two gods. One is the black god Rigel, and then there's Eldritch, the white goddess, and they're both represented by a black and white wolf. They're just kind of, mentioned just to say, hey, this is how people are doing their magic. So that's pretty interesting. Atlanta is pretty run-of-the-mill, town. There's nothing really crazy about it. There's a whole bunch of guilds everywhere, but I don't think the guilds really pop up into the city and make it feel fleshed out. What really makes it different is the bank. I really never read a book where the author like goes into like, okay, this is the bank, and then at least in most novels I've read, and it's like, okay, and in the novel they really go hard on money. Money is like a thing. Like, you feel it when these people are poor. Like, you feel it. Like, you know exactly how much stuff costs and everything. So this is really from the ashes. But the last real part that's mentioned in this first volume is Damaro or Damro, and it's basically an abandoned city. It's been taken over by goblins, pretty much, and the goblins that have taken it over are, at least the outer part, are the ones that are on the like bottom of the food chain of goblins. So the nobles and stuff are in the middle of the city, but everybody else, like, they get pushed out, and they're scouts and stuff that look for adventurers to kill. I don't really care too much for the setting. It's really not. It's really just a backdrop. I think it's not really anywhere like Hogwarts or anything like that. So at least so far. So that's how I feel about it. So I'm going to talk about the first character here. So I'm going to talk about Haruhiro. So Haruhiro is endearing in this first novel. He's very realistic. He's very relatable. He's somebody that's as they play for a comedy or comic, whatever. He's the straight man, and he's a nice main character to follow. I don't think he's too annoying, but he's just a little bit annoying sometimes because he goes over the top with the despair. But I understand where he's coming from. All in all, it's just sometimes it's too much for me. Ronta is just annoying. It is hard to get through his parts. I just kind of skip most of his dialogue. Some of the stuff he says towards the end is funny, actually funny, made me laugh out loud. But most of the things that he said and the way he was introduced is just pure frustration. Just, it's gonna cause you a migraine. So Ronta is, I don't know, he's just annoying. Minato, I like him. He's a nice guy. He's really cool. For a white mage, he's just spectacular. I'm so happy with the way he's written in the series. He's fantastic. Yume, I like her character design, but the way she talks in the third person, or how like she's a cave woman or just an idiot, is pretty annoying. I think it's supposed to be cutesy, and it's not. It's annoying. I was looking forward to her being portrayed a little better from the anime, and here she's just, I'm disappointed. Shiharu or Shiharo, I don't know. The girl with the purple or white hair. She is very hard to notice. She's a main character, but not really. She's a crybaby here. And it's not annoying. She's just very much a supporting character, even though she's supposed to be one of the main characters. Moguzo, he comes through here. He comes through a lot, and even though he doesn't get a lot of screen time, you could tell he's an honest guy and he's a hardworking guy, and he's pretty shy. He's a gentle giant, and it doesn't feel like it feels like earnest. It feels like it's not the author forcing something. Renji doesn't get a lot of screen time. He's the badass guy. He's like, ooh, I'm Renji, I'm so bad. And he forms his own crew and all this stuff, and they go off on their own and whatever. Bump Renji. Mary, hilarious. She's hilarious in this volume. She's just hilarious. I love Mary in this volume. She's great. Bree is queer-coded. That's it. He's the queer-coded person. Kikoa is he's as annoying as Ronta sometimes, though he's actually helpful, unlike Ronta. So I like him. Characters I need to talk about: the goblins. The goblins are pretty much your standard goblins. In reading this, I saw the inspiration for Goblin Slayer. I don't know if they were released around the same time, but I feel like the guy who wrote Goblin Slayer stole a lot of his inspiration from Grimgar. The goblins are pretty ruthless. They do get easier to take care of. At least some of them are really bad. So these group of people are people from Japan specifically, are transported into this very dark setting. They don't know what's going on. They don't know who each other is. They're trying to figure everything out, and they do a lot of talking to kind of flesh out their characters at the beginning. This person comes out of nowhere and kind of, guides them along and tells them a little bit about where they are and what they're going to be doing. They head off. They meet Bree. Bree is the person that kind of gives them the ultimatum of, hey, you guys could become soldiers or you guys can work and earn like next to no money to be able to live, especially when you guys don't know what you're doing here. All of them have amnesia, so one group leaves, another group after the Renji group leaves as well. The happy-go-lucky Kikoa goes off on his own, and the remaining four form a group, and they form a group. They don't do anything yet. They just go to scout and see what the city is about. Haruhiro has to take the leader role because everybody else is incompetent, and he learns about a bank, learns about a little bit of how money works here, and he also meets with Minato. So Minato decides to join up with them shortly after, and they all figure out, hey, let's go to guilds to actually learn like how to fight and earn some money, since we're in this army military situation. So they learn to fight. Haruhiro is a thief. Shiharu is a mage. The Yume is a hunter, and Ronta is a dread knight. He was supposed to be a warrior, but fuck it, I guess. So they end up running into a warrior when they discover Moguzo, who kind of got escorted out by some other dude, is just abandoned out in the middle of the walkway, with all his money stolen. So he ends up joining the group. they help him out with his money problem, and they hilariously fail at fighting fighting rats. So after they fail at that, they they try to get into some goblin situations. They try to earn more and more money. They end up going to this town, Damro, and basically they're doing somewhat okay, but they push their luck a little bit and decide to take on or bite more than they could chew and fight some goblins that absolutely wipe the floor with them. They can't do anything to these goblins. They end up retreating, but Haruhiro keeps getting hurt. So Minato is healing him. He runs very, very low on mana, and while they run away, he ends up getting hit in the back. So they end up, fleeing, retreating. They make it a ways away, and then Minato can't hold on anymore, and the injury seems to be grievous. Minato dies, and his body is cremated, so he doesn't come back to life. And because of the Deathless Knights, something, I don't know if he has a curse or something like that. So, but everybody's grieving. Everybody, it's leaderless. They don't know what to do. So Haruhiro ends up, hearing through Kikoa about somebody that is a healer, So they find this healer, and Mary ends up not being very cooperative is the word. So they end up working with her anyway because they kind of have to, and it's not going very well, not just between them and Mary, but between the boys and the girls. Haruhiro and Yume end up having a moment, and Shiharu kind of peeks in on it, and she gets the wrong idea, but Yume's like a ditz, so yeah, she thinks they're doing something. Anyway, also Shiharu liked Minato, forgot to say that, so she took it very hard when he died. So back on topic, they, the dialogue in this is great, but they go, back to the city, and they're doing like little this, little that. Haruhiro ends up, breaking through Mary's kind of guard, by talking about, how things are going to change and how he's also going to, move forward. He's not good at being a leader, but he's trying and all that good stuff. And somehow this gets through to Mary, and she ends up, trying once. It's like, okay, your party died, and your party died because you weren't healing, and our healer died because he was doing everything. So they compromise. They end up going back to the goblin place. They've all bought, they have to buy skills, by the way. They all bought new skills, and they start to fight the goblins. They're getting, they're not getting their ass whooped. They're just having a really tough time. Mary ends up getting hit grievously, but she doesn't die, which is awesome. But Mokuzo ends up taking out the big goblin, and then I forgot who takes out the goblin that was like a slippery bastard, but the book basically ends there, with them avenging Minato and then going to his grave to say their goodbyes to him. I'm gonna rate Grimgar a 3 out of 5. I want to see where it goes. I enjoyed it. It was one crazy ride. 3 stars because while I enjoyed it, the writing was very amateurish. It was very mediocre. The prose wasn't great on my eyeballs. So just keep that in mind if you're getting into this, and see where the series goes, because I was definitely interested after this. I wanted to see how far volume 2 would go, and what would be in it, what like little details that weren't in the anime would pop out. But reading this, I think the anime did a great job at portraying everything and also not being as annoying. On top of that, the view of the women through Haruhiro's eyes, as in like, you know, fat asses and the big titties in the show, is great because Haruhiro thinks everybody's beautiful. But this has been Talon, and I hope you all have a great day. Stay blessed. I'll see you next time, readers.